On 16/11/19957, the police entered this house in the village of Blainfield, Ohio, to search for a missing woman. But once they got inside, they uncovered one of the most gruesome murder cases ever. They found a body hanging from the ceiling and remains of other missing people. The homeowner was the last person anyone in the village suspected because he was friendly and always invited them over for dinner. What they didn't know was that the plates they were eating from were actually made from the skulls of the victims their neighbor had killed. What I just told you is just a small glimpse into this killer's crimes. So get ready, settle in, and enjoy. On August 27, 1906, Ed Gain was born in La Crosse County, Wisconsin. When he was 8 years old, the Gain family, Ed, his brother Henry, their dad, and their mom, moved to the village of Plainfield in the state of Wisconsin. Back then, they lived on a remote farm, and the village was really small, with only about 700 people. The reason they moved was because Ed's mom, Augusta, was a very strict, devout Christian. She felt that living in La Crosse might corrupt her kids, so she forced the family to move to the village. His mother was She was very controlling and taught him that we're not allowed to talk to anyone outside the family. She always told them that people are bad, like their family were angels or something. He lived a very isolated life. No friends, no hangouts, no going out. As for his relationship with his dad, God forbid, it was terrible. His dad was an alcoholic and would hit him for no reason, just to take it out on him. At 13, he dropped out of school and started working on the farm. Then, in 1940, his dad died of heart failure, and he and his brother Henry had to work on the family farm. Henry, his brother, often went against their mom. There were things he saw as wrong, but Ed, God forbid, used to give his mother godlike qualities, thinking she could never be wrong. Because of this, he and his brother were always having problems. But in 1944, tragedy struck the family. One day, a fire broke out on their farm. Ed and his brother Henry tried to put out the fire. Ed went to ask the neighbors for help, but when he came back, he found his brother lying on the ground with bruises on his head. After they gave him first aid, it turned out he had died from a heart attack while trying to put out the fire, and he hit his head when he fell and struck a rock. When their mother heard the news, she had a stroke that he was feeling down and his situation was bad. But for Ed, he was happy because he became the only close person to his mother. What he didn't expect was that after 19 months of her illness, on 29/12/19945, his mother passed away. The news of her death completely shattered Ed, and his mental state got really bad. People who attended his mother's funeral said he was crying like a baby, even though he was 39 years old. His mother meant everything to him, and after she died, he lived alone on the family farm. On 16/11/19957, it was the first day of deer hunting season. That year, all the men living in the village went to the forest to hunt the deer, but Ed decided to stay in the village. He got in his car and went to a shop owned by a woman named Bernice, who was 58 years old. He knew her and used to come by often, trying to get close to her and talk, but she always rejected him. So that day, seeing no men around in the village, he took the chance to carry out his violent crime. He went to her, asked for some antifreeze, and after she gave it to him, she wrote a receipt in his name. Then he asked her to show him one of the parts hanging up high. When she turned around, he pulled out a rifle and shot her. After killing her, he dragged her body and put it in the car that he took her to his farm, and that same day, her son came back from the forest to the store. When he walked in, he didn't see his mother and got worried. Then he noticed bloodstains on the floor. The first person who came to his mind was Ed, because he used to hang around his mother a lot and tried to get close to her. When the police searched the place, they found the receipt Bernice had written for Ed. As soon as they saw the receipt, they said he was probably the last person who saw her. But the idea that he was the killer was impossible because everyone in the village thought he was a good, sweet guy, and there was no way he was mentally unstable. However, when a group of police went out to look for him, they found him drinking. They had dinner at their neighbor's house, but then the police showed up and arrested him. After that, they went to Ed's farm to search around. What happened next was shocking, something he missed on the wall. That night was really cold and dark. The cops entered the farm looking for anything that could lead them to the victim, Bernice. Suddenly, in one corner, A cop shone his flashlight up and saw Bernice's body hanging by her feet, her insides completely ripped out. When the news spread in the village, people were shocked by what they heard. Could this poor, humble man really have killed a woman and gutted her? But what they didn't know was, their neighbor was Music the serial killer. After what they saw, the police officers went to the farm to search it. But the place was a total mess, more like a dump. The guy didn't even throw away trash at his house. On the contrary, he brought more garbage from outside and kept it at his place. The weird thing is, after searching the house, they found items made from human skin and flesh. Imagine, this chair was made by him out of human flesh. He also made gloves and a lampshade out of human skin. On top of that, they found 12 heads, a jar full of human noses, and masks made from the skin of human heads hanging from the ceiling. And if that wasn't enough, he had even made a full leather suit. He told them that he used to wear a suit and one of those women's masks and wander around the house just to feel like his mother was still with him. Like, it was obvious he was doing everything he could to bring his mother back. It's something you'd never even see in movies. Sometimes some of his neighbors would come over, but he never let them into the room where the bodies were. Sometimes he'd invite them to eat, and everything seemed fine. But after the crime, they found out the dishes they were eating from were actually skulls of the dead. He loved reading, but he read magazines and books about serial killers and criminals, and even medical books so he could learn about anatomy. That's it. He even helped out on the farm because he learned how to slaughter animals and stuff. During the police search on the farm, they found a severed head of a woman who had been missing for 2 years. Then they discovered the remains of another woman who had been missing for 3 years. Her name was Mary. Mary worked at one of the village bars, and when she disappeared, people were always talking about it. He kept telling them she hadn't disappeared, that she was at home, but no one believed him. They thought he was joking and didn't take him seriously. When they first started questioning him, he stayed quiet the whole day and didn't say a word. But then, the second guy, after they pressured him, told them, "Bring me a pie with cheese slices on top, 'cause I'm really craving that." Honestly, this guy was weirder than anything you could imagine. His behavior with the investigators was like a little kid's. But then he surprised them and said, "I'm not a serial killer. The stuff you saw at my place, I stole it from the victims' bodies, from their graves." See, 2 years after his dad died, he started digging up graves. He would go to the cemeteries, dig up graves, and take things from the bodies. Keep in mind, he wasn't stealing jewelry or anything valuable. He was taking body parts. Even the villagers couldn't wrap their heads around what he was doing. They saw him and heard from everyone who knew him that this guy was just a normal person like them. Even his brother, who we talked about at the start of the video, died in a fire. A lot of people said he was the one who killed him because he was always against his mom. Then, he told them that he used to visit the cemetery a lot. One time, a woman in the village died who looked a lot like his mother. Out of missing his mom, he went to her grave, dug it up, took the body, and brought it back to the farm. Later, the investigators went to the cemetery and decided to dig up some graves to check if what he said was true. And shockingly, he was right. The reason he didn't want to look at his mom's body was the soil around the grave was sandy, and the coffin was buried inside a concrete vault. There was no way anyone could open it. After his confessions, the investigators felt this guy was mentally unstable. When they took him to court, they decided he was psychotic and suffering from serious mental disorders. He even had hallucinations and told them he heard strange voices and that the trees talked to him. After that, they sent him to a criminal asylum. But the story of Eid stayed famous in the village. In 1958, they decided to auction off Eid's farm, but the villagers were so angry they set fire to it and burned the farm down. After that, one of the villagers bought the car that Eid used to transport bodies for $700 at an auction. After buying it, he put it inside a tent and started taking pictures of people for 25 cents. Now, back to the main story. On July 26, 1984, Eid Jean died of lung cancer at the age of 77. After that, they buried him next to his mother. After Eid's story spread widely, a movie was made and books were written about his story, both carrying his name. And that's the end of our story. See you in the next video. Peace.